Hi, Elaine here, countryhomeandheart.net, and today I'm going to be making a meatloaf. Just a basic recipe. It's very, very easy, and it's also very versatile. You can put pretty much whatever you like in this meatloaf, and it's going to come out good. It's a real easy one to make, and you can make it ahead. So hold on just one second. I'm going to turn you down so you can see. Okay, and what I have in my mixing bowl is I have 1 pound of ground beef, and I have 1/2 pound of ground sausage. It's just regular old breakfast sausage. Now you can use any other kind of ground meat you like. I have also made this with a combination of ground beef and ground turkey. You could use turkey sausage. You could pretty much use any other ground meat that you like, or you could use another extra pound, 1/2 pound of ground beef, and it would be fine. But I just prefer the sausage because I think the sausage, the spices in the sausage really gives it a good flavor. Okay, and now to that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. And then to that, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of ground pepper. This is plain old black pepper. And we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon. I might have had just a little more, but that's okay. We like pepper. I think I've mentioned that before. So we'll just go ahead and add a little teeny bit more, and that's going to be fine. Okay, and I'm going to add 1 small onion that's been chopped up fine. And we're just going to dump that right in. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to add 1 egg that's already been slightly beaten. We're just going to toss that, just throw that in there too. Okay. Let me grab a spoon. And what I'm going to add here is 3/4 of a can of tomato soup. So, and we're going to use the remaining 1/4 can in the topping, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. But we're going to just pour that right in. A little bit more. There we go. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to put in is 1.5 cups of quick cooking oatmeal. Of course, it hasn't been cooked. And what it's going to do is it's going to work with the egg. It's going to act as a binder, and it's going to hold this together so that this meatloaf, when it's done, can actually be sliced. And my mother always used oatmeal for that. Never had she didn't have as good luck with other things, and neither have I really, so I've kind of just stuck with the meatloaf over the years. Okay, now what I'm going to do is turn my mixer on and get this started mixing up, and I will be back. Okay, I'm back, and I have my meatloaf all mixed up. And what I'm going to do is I have a loaf pan right here that I have sprayed with cooking spray because I don't want this to stick. And I'm going to go ahead and just spoon this right in to the loaf pan. Now, if you don't have a loaf pan, it's okay. You can use maybe a 9x13 baking sheet or baking dish, and you can shape this into a loaf, and it will work just as well. But I usually use a loaf pan because I have one, and I have a pretty nice one that comes apart, and it makes it easy to get the meatloaf out after it's done. So that's typically what I use. But if you don't have a loaf pan, or you'd rather not use a loaf pan, you can certainly use a baking sheet and do the same thing, just shaping it into a loaf. Okay, I'll get that on there. And also, I know that, like I say, there's a lot of different ways to make meatloaf. This is just my way, but if you wanted to add chopped green peppers into this, you could, or any other kind of vegetable. that you wanted to add into this. If you wanted to leave out the onions, that's okay. You can do that too. In fact, my mother used to have to make half of it with onions and the other half without onions because I had a brother that wouldn't touch onions, not cooked or anything. So that's the way that she did it. Okay, I rinse my hands off real quick because I touched that meat when I was putting that in there. Okay, now we're going to make a topping for this. And what I'm going to do is take a wooden spoon and I'm just going to press some holes in this so that the topping will actually run down in there and keep this really nice and moist. So we're just going to put some holes in this. Okay. All right, let me put this away. Okay, now I have the other quarter of a can of tomato soup. And to that, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of just tomato ketchup. And I'm going to mix this up right in the can. Easy way to do it. Okay. Oops. There we go. And to that, I'm going to add, I don't know, about a tablespoon of mustard. So I'm just going to squirt that right in there, and that's about a tablespoon. Yep, pretty close. And the last thing I'm going to add to that is 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And I'm just going to take a fork and I'm just going to mix that together just like that, right in that can. Okay, and I'm going to take a spoon and I'm just going to spoon this right on top of my meatloaf and kind of run it over to the edges like that. So we have a nice topping on our meatloaf. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm not going to cook this until later on. So what I'm going to do is just cover this over with plastic wrap, and I'm going to set this in my refrigerator. So you could do this easily the night before, or if, maybe the morning if you're going to work. Maybe you could do it in the morning before you go to work and have that ready to cook when you got home. Okay, and let me turn this up here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is about 1 hour before we're ready to eat, I'll set my oven on 350 degrees, and when my oven preheats, I'm going to bake this at 350 for 1 hour. And then it should be done, and I'll be cooking the rest of my stuff while it's in the oven. I'm going to make some cream cheese mashed potatoes and some kind of a vegetable. I haven't decided what yet, but we'll figure that out a little bit later on. Okay, so when this comes out of the oven, we'll be back. Okay, we're back and the meatloaf is done, and I'm just going to turn you around here and show you. Bring that up a little bit. There we go. Whoops, went too far. Okay. How well this turned out, and see, it cuts very nicely. I can cut that right into slices without any trouble at all. The oatmeal really helps that hold together. Real nice. So I'm going to cut this up into some slices. Okay, and I didn't mean to bump you there. Okay, and I have our plates ready. So I'm going to get my husband a little bit right here. And I'm going to get me a piece and put it over here on this other plate. It's kind of out of the picture, you can't see it. But there's what the meatloaf looks like. I'm going to bring this up to you a little closer so you can see how nicely it holds together and nice texture. Okay. And in this pot right here, I have some cream cheese mashed potatoes. Now I have those featured on another video, and I will post a link to that video in the description down below, so that you'll be able to see exactly how I made these. And if you want to try make them yourself, they're very simple and they're very delicious. So I think you'll enjoy those. So, okay, and I have some green beans. So I'm going to get these green beans plated up. Okay, there's some for me. And there is some for my husband. Okay. Move that back a little bit there. So this is his plate right here with the potatoes and the green beans. I gave him 2 pieces of meatloaf. And here's my plate down here. So we are going to get ready to eat. And I thank you so much for watching. And I hope that you'll try this recipe and put it down in the comments and let me know what you thought. And again, you can change this, put any kind of vegetables or anything in there that you like. Okay, so thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.